Hi, my name is Ruby. I'm a 2-year-old golden retriever, and I love road trips and going camping with my papa. In April, it was still snowing in the mountains, so we picked up our friend David and we drove to Utah. On our first day, we drove along the Colorado River, where we were surrounded by tall red cliffs until we reached an area that Papa called the Fisher Towers. They looked like big sandcastles to me. The rocks got really red as the sun went down. Papa recently got a camera that flies. He says it gives him a different perspective for photographs. We all stayed up late to take pictures of the stars. The next morning, I followed my usual routine of waking up Snuggle Puppy. She has slept with me every night since I came to my forever home. After breakfast, we drove to Dead Horse Point State Park on a jeep road that was quite narrow and sometimes very rough. We drove past a place with a silly name, Goony Bird Rock. I didn't see any birds. Papa got out his flying camera again. stopped for a little hike at a place called Gemini Bridges. It was a big hole in the ground with two stone bridges that you could walk across. Finally made it to Dead Horse Point. Found our campsite, set up our tent, and I finally got my dinner. Then Papa drove us over to the canyon. We walked around enjoying the scenery. It looked a lot like the big hole that I visited in Arizona with Mama and Papa when I was a puppy. Papa thinks it's just as pretty, but much less crowded than that other canyon. We got to enjoy a very pretty sunset, and then we stayed up very late again. This time the stars were out, so Papa and David stayed up until 2 a.m. to take pictures in the dark. I'm not quite sure how that works, but Papa says he got this picture while I was napping on the warm rocks. When we got back to our tent, I fell immediately asleep with Snuggle Puppy. The next day, we drove down another jeep road through a narrow gap called Tucker Pass. Had to drive under this big rock that had fallen over the road. Papa said it wasn't as small opening as it looked. made our first stop in the area known as the Badlands. This is Goblin Valley State Park. We hiked around here for about an hour, exploring lots of the funny-looking rocks, which Papa says are called hoodins. That's a funny name. Where do people come up with all these goofy names? This area is called the Moon Overlook. Papa says that's because this is sort of what the moon looks like. We camped here overnight and I got to meet a bunch of other people that were also here. It was another very dark, late night with lots of stars, so Papa and David stayed up very late again. We were awakened very early in the morning by a strong wind trying to blow our tent over. Then we got to enjoy a very beautiful sunrise. After breakfast, we went exploring some weird rock formations near Factory Butte. These rocks look very solid from a distance, but up close you can crumble them with your fingers. Of course, I don't have any of those, but I'll bet I could chew a bit hole on it. We spent the rest of the morning exploring in Muddy Creek and Wild Horse Canyon. In the afternoon, we returned to the little town of Hanksville to pour some smelly liquid into a hole outside of the Jeep. When Papa and David put the tent up, they realized that the wind had bent all of the poles and it wouldn't stand up straight. Even though we wouldn't be able to sleep in the tent tonight, we still hiked out to a place called the Spires. Papa really wanted to take some pictures here. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. Here are the finished Milky Way photos that Papa took.